Okay, we're moving on to proteins now in nutrition. So we talked about carbohydrates and we talked about lipids or fats, and now we're going to move to the other big group of molecules that make up our food. Before we do that, let's just review real quick. So because they use some of these terms in that we're going to be using some of these terms, so I want to make sure that we're comfortable. So there's this term that we call monomer. So mono means one, and mer is just like the molecule. It's like the building block. So when we talked about monomers of carbohydrates, we can stick many glucose molecules, right, together to make something like glycogen, or to make something like cellulose, or make something like starch. So in this situation, in a carbohydrate, our monomer is glucose. And that's our building block for building bigger and different types of carbohydrates. So for proteins, we have a monomer as well. So the monomer of proteins are amino acids. So amino acids, if you want to think of it, are similar to our monosaccharides, for example, glucose. I'm just going to separate this here a little bit. And quite often, when we draw just like the cartoon image of an amino acid, we simply just draw a circle. So I can draw 1 amino acid, 2 amino acids, 3 amino acids, 4 amino acids, 5 amino acids. And these together, much, much longer, but all of these together can make our protein. So that's what we're going to be talking about here. So I'm going to be talking about these terms amino acids that can be put together to build larger molecules called proteins. But they want us here to talk about the chemical composition. So when we talked about glucose, the formula was C6H12O6. So that's the chemical composition. It has carbon, it has hydrogen, and it has oxygen. When we talked about fats, I'll draw that over here. Fats, if you remember, were just like a line of carbons, each connected to a hydrogen, right? And maybe this one's connected to a hydrogen. I'm going to make a very short fatty acid. And this last carbon has a double bond to an oxygen, and then this other OH here. So our chemical composition of fats is also carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. For amino acids, for proteins, we're going to add one more as far as the building block. So we definitely have carbons, we definitely have a hydrogen, and we definitely have oxygen, and we're going to add a third element, and this one is nitrogen. So nitrogen is the fourth part of amino acids. And to be fair, and we'll talk about this in the next video, that there are sometimes more than just this, depending on the type of amino acid. But let's stick with that for now. Whoops, I forgot my little N here, nitrogen. So that is the chemical composition of proteins: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen.